Really good, really tough question here, and I'd like to know your thoughts. The question is, at what ages will a court compel a parent, if at all, to stop allowing siblings to share beds? There's an 11-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl, and I love how close my kids are, but with my son nearing the age of puberty, I feel it's very important to have appropriate boundaries and personal space. The other parent does have the space at the home to avoid bed sharing, and I understand there's no law, but from the research I've gathered, a judge would frown upon this. I've had unsuccessful attempts to navigate this on my own with my ex. I typically stay out of the rules and what goes on at the other house, but I feel like this is a legitimate concern, and I don't want my son experiencing physical changes, having arousals, and then my daughter's sleeping in bed snuggling with him every other week. Have any other parents successfully navigated this? This question's from the Modern Divorce Support Group over on Facebook, and I feel like it's a really great example of just how complicated co-parenting can be. So let me know what you all think, and I will tell you what I think. My name's Billy Tarasio. I'm an Arizona family law attorney, owner of Modern Law, and Win Without Law School. So if a client came to me with this concern, I would probably recommend starting out with reaching out and having a phone call. Like maybe a call from a lawyer's office might do it. And I might have myself a very friendly conversation with the other parent and explain the concern, and then ask for their input on how they would address that concern. So how are you, parent, thinking about the fact that you've got two opposite sex kiddos and setting everybody up for success? Like sibling molestation is actually far more common than we typically talk about, and I've seen it countless times in family law cases. And these kids don't typically grow up to be predators. There's typically no malintent. They're just underdeveloped brains and poor decision making. So you do, I think, as a parent, have a responsibility to know that, think about that, and put protections in place to mitigate against setting anybody up for that type of scenario that could really have a huge impact on both of those kids. So maybe a discussion like that with the other parent would help. And if not, and this was a real concern to my client, it is something that I would take to a judge, because I think a judge is going to say, hey, if we can avoid this, why don't we? If you have the ability to have the kids have separate space, why don't they? What is the pro of the risk that exists when you expose a adolescent or close to adolescent boy to a much younger sibling? So that's my take on this. I kind of agree with the poster. And that's not to say sometimes, you go on vacation and you stay in an Airbnb or you go camping and things are different. But every single day just seems like unnecessary risk to me.